guys, happy Friday. Welcome to today's live. I am coming to you live from Baltimore, Maryland, East Coast, and it is now 10 p.m. So it's a little bit later than my usual lives, but I had to postpone today, and let me see if I can get on here, if I can get on the live from my computer so that I can see your guys' comments. In the meantime, I want to let you know that I am making the paper Dahlia. It's an 10-inch flower, and I'm using 65-pound cardstock. And I have pre-cut all of the components, which really it's just the base and the petals. There is no center because the center is made essentially out of the smaller petals. And so it's pretty easy to cut. It took me like 3.5 sheets. Each sheet is 8.5 by 11 inches in size. And I use my Cricut machine to cut out all the template or all the components. And so the template comes with like scoring lines, so that when you cut your base, you basically have these like lines, which I went over with a pen, but it's basically, it will score. If you put the pen attachment though, it will also draw for you these smaller circles as kind of like a guide where to put in your petals. So, okay, let me see here, what do we have? It looks like my live, is it showing? Yes, it is. Cool. Awesome. All right, now I can see myself. Learning with DJ. Awesome. Hi. Welcome back to Bush Play. These smaller circles. Oops. Okay. All right. So it's a little bit delayed, but I can see you. I can see the chat. So if you have any questions as I go through this flower, through the process of making this flower, please add your questions in the chat, as I will be keeping an eye on the chat and basically answering any questions as I go. So I am going to start with curling the petals. I am using a bone folder. You can also use a wooden dowel. Both work well. And basically we're going to start with curling the petals. We're going to curl these two edges like so. Then I have already preheated my glue gun. So using a glue gun, hot glue gun, I'm going to put a dot of glue right here and then fold it over, kind of like a cone shape, if you will. And then just let it set for a second or two. If you're working with hot glue, it dries really fast. If you're working with another type of liquid glue, craft glue, you may need to hold this a little bit longer. Depends basically on your glue. But yeah, this is how I shape the petals. I have obviously already shaped them, already curled them, but just to show you guys the process really quick, I'm going to just make a few with you right here. And even though I'm using 65-pound cardstock, this flower you can definitely make with like thinner paper. I've seen really beautiful dahlias made with like music sheets or even book pages, which I want to try. But yeah, Oops. You will also find that this template, this shape, can be also traced and printed and then cut. For those of you who don't have a cutting machine or prefer to work by hand, so cutting with scissors is definitely possible with this template, as it doesn't really have a lot of like small details. So that's another nice thing about this. So yeah, as you can see, it's the same process for all of the sizes. This template comes with 5 different size petals, and you know, everything is pre-sized and ready to cut, and that will basically everything is pre-sized so that you can make a 10-inch flower. So when everything is assembled, the diameter of the flower will be 10 inches. If you're using a cutting machine, the SVG file can be, oh yeah, let me show you how to do it with the wooden dowel. So the SVG file can be easily resized. Oops. If you size it up or size it down, you may need to change the number of petals that you're using for each layer, but it's the same technique. Okay, so now that I have shown you how to curl the petals or how to shape the petals, all the different sizes, I am going to, I don't see any messages on here. Let me double check the computer. Oh, okay. On my phone I can see that you guys are waving at me. Hi. Hi. Valdi, Veni, hello. Minion, hello. Hello, Denny. Okay. Alright, so now I am ready to assemble my flower. I'm going to set these petals aside as I've already pre-cut and just numbered all the petals. So there's going to be 5 layers. Layer 1 is going to have 16 petals, layer 2 15, layer 3 is going to have 11, layer 4 8 petals, and layer 5 5 petals. Now, I'm just right off the bat, I'm going to say this, that because my flowers are handmade, the number of petals sometimes, you know, can vary, can be off by 1 or 2, but that is actually one of the things that I love about handmade paper flowers, is that each one is unique, right? Even though it's the same template, you really can't recreate the same flower twice, at least not an exact copy, because they are all unique, they're all handmade. Okay, so I like to just take out all of the petals, kind of spread them all around. That way, when I'm in the flow of putting this together, I can just easily grab one and I don't have to mess around with them. So I'm going to place the petals this way. So that means that I need the glue in the back. And I'm adding a little bit of glue and then using this line as a guide. So my first petal, or the first layer, is gonna go around this first circle. If you see my petals moving, I'm not a magician, it's not magic, but if you're using hot glue, if you're familiar with hot glue, you're probably also familiar with those strings, spider webs I call them, that hot glue produces. So that's what that is. Okay, so I'm placing the second petal. There is some space here, but basically I want them to sort of touch here. Okay, I don't want there to be too much space. So I'm going to be doing the same thing. And one thing that I always say about hot glue is that it's nice because it dries so fast, right? So that means that you can work fast. You don't have to sit there and wait for the glue to dry. You can just keep going, and that is great. But if you're using a different type of glue, like a liquid glue, hot glue, or not hot glue, craft glue, you will need to, you know, press it for a couple of seconds, or maybe a minute, depending on your glue. Hello and welcome. Those of you who are just joining us, I am making a paper dahlia. If you want, you can just hop on my stories real quick to see what it looks like, but you may have seen it in my posts. And if you're wondering how I make it, this is how. So the finished flower will be 10 inches, as I mentioned, and so this size is really great for like small floral sets, you know, like something to put above a crib or above like a table setup for baby shower, birthday, bridal shower, etc. This flower goes really well with paper roses, and also I like it with paper peonies. I will actually create a template bundle that has these 3 flowers. I just haven't had the time to really list it on Etsy, but I will create a floral bundle template for you guys because I see a lot of people buying, you know, these 3 flowers together, and of course they go really well. I am the one suggesting this trio. Okay, so I'm already seeing that I will need more than 16 petals for the first layer. I may need like what, like 1 or 2 more, and that's fine. I always like to print, or to cut rather, a few extra petals just in case, even in case like there's damage, you rip one out or something like that. Okay, so let me add one more here. But yeah, I like the base. I like how it has the guiding circles. I think it makes it easier, and especially if you're a beginner, it takes off that like anxiety of where am I going to place the next layer. All right, so I ended up using basically 17 petals for this first layer. And the first layer of our flower is done. Now I'm going to continue with the second layer. So the petals are a bit smaller, and also I'm going to bring those petals a bit closer to the center, and this will be, I will be using the second circle as a guide. The technique is the same. I'm just going to set them out so that it's easier for me. Okay. So one more thing that I want to point out is that when I started, I placed the petal of the second layer in between the petals, the already existing petals of the first layer. And then you're just going to continue, you know. You want, again, the petals to sort of touch at their widest point. which is like here. And all the materials, by the way, that I'm using, so from the paper, the glue gun, the mat, and everything, bone folder, wooden dowels, everything is listed in my Amazon storefront. There's a link in my bio if you are curious, or if you want to know, or if you want to get any of these tools. Also the cutting machines that I use, the Cricut, are listed on there as well. But the template basically is available in an SVG format, which you can use whether you have a Cricut, a Silhouette, or a Brother, scan and cut. And also comes with the PDF. The PDF is for those of you who don't have a cutting machine or prefer to cut by hand, and that allows you to trace, to like print, trace, and then cut this flower by hand. All right, so for the second layer, I did use 15 petals. And there we go. Our flower is coming along. Now I'm on to layer 3. Okay, for layer 3, I plan to use 11 petals. But I do have cut a few extras just in case. Oh, and I'm going to use the third circle as my guiding point. And again, I'm going to place this petal in between the existing petals of the second layer. And then I'm just going to go around that circle. I am not seeing any comments on the chat. You guys are such a quiet crowd. Oh, here we go. The Cricut mat is on my wish list. Yay. Awesome. Rise 12. I hope you get it. Oh, what flag is that? Is that the Philippines? I'm not sure, but I hope your wish comes true. And get the Cricut mat. Yeah, I like this one for small projects. I have a bigger one as well, but sometimes, you know, I don't need that big of a mat, so this is perfect. It also allows me to just like grab this mat and like take it in a different, you know, area while I'm working on something. So I like that it's nice and contained. So yeah, when you put the glue, you basically want to put it as close to the tip as possible, especially as you're coming to like the third, fourth layer, because as you're coming into the third, fourth, and fifth layer, the petals are going to be sitting a bit more upright, right? Because they're closer to the center. So you're literally like smooshing the bottom a bit as you are placing them down. Wait, come back here. We're not done yet. So yeah, where are you guys watching from? I'm curious to know where you are. following me from, or just like if you're not following me, just stumbled upon this live, where are you watching from? Which side of the world? Which corner of the planet? I am based in Maryland, like I mentioned, Baltimore, Maryland, so east coast of the US. But I'm originally from Albania, San Antonio, Texas, says Brittany. Hi, Brittany. Cool. So here we have the third layer. We have 2 layers left, and of course these have fewer petals. So far for the first layer I used 18 petals, for the second layer 15 petals, for the third layer 11 petals, and for the fourth layer I plan to use 8 petals. So these are even tinier, but again you're going to continue adding glue to the bottom here. Same technique, and just smooshing it down a bit as you place it onto the base. Chicago, Illinois, looking for any ideas. I love your username. Hi Kelly. Kelly's Paper Petals is here. I'm always excited to see familiar names, familiar profile pics. So welcome. And basically this flower you know, takes about, I'm gonna say what, like 20 minutes to assemble, even 15 minutes if you're really focused. Like if I really focus, obviously during the live I'm multitasking and also slowing down a bit so that people can follow up and follow along rather. But yeah, this is not a difficult flower to put together. So it's very like family friendly, kid friendly as well. But again, hot glue works best with the type of flower. It allows you to work really fast. And so if you're working with hot glue and kids, you know, obviously be very, very careful, as this is, as the name suggests, hot. There are some hot glue guns that have like, you can basically adjust the temperature. This one is just high temp, only one temperature setting. But there are some hot glue guns that you can basically control the temperature, but still, even so, be careful if you have young kids. Otherwise, I would recommend, if you're doing this with kids, to use, you know, liquid glue or craft glue. My favorite craft glue, speaking of, is Barely Arts. So that's one I recommend. I also have a link for it in my bio, to get 10% off of that glue. Alright, so we are on the 5th and last layer. For this one I have 5 petals cut out. I may use 4, I don't know, it kind of depends on how it fills in. But yeah, I'm just gonna go for it. And I like to be like sort of, I'm gonna stand right now because I was sitting. I kind of like to be like looking down, a bird's eye view of my flower, to really center and to place the petals, you know, right where they need to be. So, 2. There's 3. And 4. That looks good to me, but I will add one last one for good measure. Okay. I like for my petals to be like an odd number. Okay, you can also use like a dowel here just to keep it less messy. But yeah, this is it. So once again, to recap, I used 18 petals for layer 1. So this layer, the bottom, or like the first one. 15 petals for the second layer, 11 petals for the third layer, 8 petals for the fourth layer, and then 5 petals for the fifth layer. And yeah, oh, I just totally bumped my head on my phone. Sorry if you felt that. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I hope it was useful to you. Again, the template is available in my Etsy shop, and if you use the code floral friend, you will get 20% off. And yeah, if you have any questions that I missed, hopefully not, but if you do have any questions, just send me a DM, and I will do my best to help you out. Thank you, Kelly. I'm glad you like it. This is really one of my favorite flowers, the Dahlia. I really want to make a huge one. But yeah, if you guys have made this flower, if you plan to make it, you know, please tag me. I love seeing your creations. I usually will share it and give you a shout out as well on my page, but really I just love seeing what you do and how you bring the template to life, because like I mentioned in the beginning of this live, each flower is unique, right? Even if it's the same template, each maker, you know, uses his or her own like style and color and technique. So I love seeing what you guys create. So yeah, feel free to tag Floral Flair Studio or just DM me, message me with your creations. All right, see you on the next one. Bye.